a lot of WNBA. Is that true? Like, are you a big
I hate the WNBA.
Really? I mean, you don't like WNBA?
Them lesbian chicks, man. Them most WNBA women ugly. They just start getting cute.
You don't think Angel Reese is like a cute?
Yeah, she's the cutest. But the 80% of the NBA league is tall, giraffe-looking women.
Like Brittany Griner's not your type.
No, she's not. Most tall women that tall, they can play basketball. Their knees go together. They long feet. Y'all can't have the average man 5'9", 5'8". How you go lay with that big old woman like that? And she manly.
Yep. And the women were out there making a statement. They came out there with T-shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us."
That's right.
WNBA players were wearing T-shirts saying, "Pay us what you owe us." Well, y'all lost $40 million, so you each owe about $200,000.
How dare you?
That's a slippery slope. Pay us what you owe.
WNBA players wore "Pay Us What You Owe Us" shirts at the All-Star game. Let's dive deeper into this situation and see what they're trying to argue. The WNBA is subsidized by the NBA, and last year this league as a whole lost about $40 million. Now the big piece in this is Caitlin Clark. She showed her appreciation about the movement wearing a shirt pregame, even though she makes over $10 million a year through sponsorships. And the movement isn't off to a great start because post-game, Kelsey Plum said no members of Team Clark were present at the morning meeting talking about the shirts.
From everything that I've read, the WNBA has never turned a profit. So if I've never turned a profit, Ocho, so let me get this right. I'm losing money, but you want a raise.
Right.
Something ain't adding up.
And I dare the WNBA players. I dare you. Walk out. I dare you to walk out. Go ahead and walk out. I double dare you. Because despite Caitlin Clark, despite all this stuff, they still lost $40 million this past year.
Manly. That's why they can't sell tickets. If they hired more sexy women in the WNBA, they would do NBA numbers. But don't nobody want to see a bunch of manly-looking women running up and down the court. Send them to the military league to play over there against Russia.
There was no bonanza. She's at her height. If you're losing money at her height, how in the world going forward? It ain't going up that automatically. You just had the biggest bump and you still lost $40 million. I dare the union to walk out. I dare you play.
It's Russia. But no, man, that's not entertainment.
Well,
it's the worst investment the NBA could have ever done.
Is she your type?
Yeah, she. It ain't about type. It's
just not your type.
Yeah. Nigga, a guy would lower his standards. So when you ready, sometimes you just lower your standards.
I see what you're saying. Very strategic.
Did you see the WNBA All-Stars come out on the court? Both teams on Saturday wore T-shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." Are WNBA stars getting ripped off?
Right now, they're going through their collective bargaining right now for next year, and that includes, TV, the jerseys, the merch, and all that other stuff.
They got a big-ass TV deal that they just signed, a $2.2 billion TV deal. I do wonder what they're owed, though. I mean, because, the shirt says, "Pay us like you owe us." I was thinking that was that they shortened the Jay-Z line, pay us like you owe us. Well, no, that's not the same thing. Well, but pay us what you owe us. I wonder what they're owed.
We'll keep beating them. Jemele, do the WNBA players deserve more money, even though the league isn't making money?
They do. And I know for a lot of people who have focused on that statistic you said that it's not profitable, I want people to understand this in context. The NBA was not profitable for over 40 years, maybe about 45. The NFL was not profitable for 50 years. Did player salaries go down? No, they continued to go up.
I just don't understand how we can live in a world of delusion and think that losing $40 million is a great catalyst to get a pay raise, and then juxtaposing that with things that happened over a half a century ago, as if times haven't changed and there are not many challenges and opportunities for people to seek their entertainment. You're here in an ever competitive market, my dear, and that competitive market is telling you, until you can fill up those stadiums, people aren't really feeling you.
And what I would say that people have to understand that one, the WNBA players are not asking to be paid the same amount as NBA players. They're asking for a higher percentage of the revenue. Currently, they get 9%. That is absurdly low. Now, we know, say, for example, that UFC, they have a very notorious reputation for not paying their fighters, right? That this has been a long-standing battle in that league. The UFC fighters are getting 18%.
Ma'am, have you ever considered that the UFC is profitable because they did not overpay their fighters? I know it's a harsh game, it's a harsh reality, but when you're running a business, you have to make sure that you are running it appropriately. If the WNBA gives, let's say, a 50% revenue share, let's say a 40% revenue share, while they're in the red, that means that they're going to be in the red even more. If you run and operate in the red for a long enough time, all your investors are going to look at the business and see that the business is unsustainable. And when they do that, they pull out, and now no more league. So have it your way, get paid today, or have longevity.
I think the WNBA should be the sex workers like the strippers is for the rappers.
Have you ever been to a game?
Yes, once, and it was boring.
Really? Courtside or?
No. I took some kids. This organization I used to partner with named 601 Tickets used to donate tickets and stuff to my youth organization. So I used to take the kids out the project to them WNBA games because it didn't cost much to feed them popcorn and stuff like that. They don't have high popcorn price like the NBA. That's how you know they ain't worth.
So their popcorn's cheap.
Yeah. So are their jerseys. They don't invest into a lot of them women.
Caitlin Clark's doing pretty good right now.
Man,
though.
she's saving it. If it wasn't for Caitlin and Angel, wouldn't nobody be in this.
If you never turned a profit, WNBA been around how long? How many years now?
96, I think, the year they started.
And
almost 30 years.
They've never turned a profit, but it still seems to be running just well and fine and continuing to grow. Somebody,
well, I mean, look, there's some says that
the
the NBA is supplementing. Some people say they're not supplementing. But the one thing that's not being refuted is that they're not making the money where they could like. The reason why the salaries for the think about it, Ocho.
Right.
J.J. Watt made $112 million in his career.
Right.
His brother just got a $123 million contract for 3 years. Because why? The NFL revenue is increasing exponentially.
Every single word that came out of Calvin Candy's mouth was nothing but hope. But he was right about one thing. I am that one that in 10,000.
Ladies, gentlemen, the polite savages, it is time for all the non-business minded folks to step to the front of the congregation and try to explain how they can be in a business that's losing $40 million a year, look someone dead in the eye and says, pay us what you owe us. Well, ma'am, what we owe you is not even a job at this point because we are losing money, bleeding money, hemorrhaging money, hand over fist. But of course, the community will always say this is not about equal pay for equal work, because if this was a man-ran business for equal pay for equal work, that business 9 times out of 10 would be out of business. So let's get on down to it and tell the truth, but nothing but the truth as we see it. And sometimes the truth is a bitter pill wrapped up in a WNBA nonsense, wearing a pay us what you owe us t-shirt. Boy, you polite savages, I never thought I would see somebody in a business that was running underwater demand more money. I worked for startups for years, and one thing we knew when we weren't making revenue, we were just happy to be there because we knew that if it wasn't for investors coming in, believing in us, understanding that we were running a business that could be sustainable in the future, those investors would pull out, and if they pulled out, everything fell apart. We're having a disconnect in reality here, and I don't understand what it is. If you're underwater, you don't ask for more money, and actually ask for revenue and ignore profit is ludicrous because a corporation's job is to make profit. And for the last 30 years, the WNBA has not did their job. They've depended on the NBA to help them, subsidize them, to keep them afloat. So instead of just being humble and happy that you have a position, these ladies have decided that they need to be paid more for a failing position. And it's just hilarious saying it. Can you imagine going to a place, watching people picket when you know that that place is on its way out of business? Hasn't made money in 30 years? You would look at those folks, those employees, and say, ain't you happy that you can just come here? That you have a job, that you have a place. But hey, it's a clown world and everyone's entitled. You dig?
The WNBA is pretty much at the lowest. So yes, they deserve more money. And people have to understand the moment that the WNBA is in. I know people heard the fact that they're losing $40 to $50 million, or that was the case for 2024. I don't know why people always believe it when we see numbers like that. And this is what I mean. So in 2011, when the NBA was in a lockout, the owners claimed that they were losing $1 billion. When it was 1999 and there was another lockout in the NBA, the owner said that 80% of the NBA teams were not profitable.
You do realize that if a company fraudulently misrepresents its profit purposes of contract negotiations, that is illegal, right? And typically when this happens, companies are fined heavily, regardless if they're public traded or not, because there are labor laws that protect employees federally and locally. But what you are saying, man, what you just espoused is that the WNBA for the last 30 years have just lied about their profitability. They've lied about what they've been doing. They've been absolutely hiding money, hoarding money, and keeping it away from the employees. This just doesn't make sense, especially when the NBA has to report that they are actually giving the WNBA $10 million for the last 30 years.
Essentially, what you see happening here with the WNBA, with these pay us what you owe us shirts, is basically WNBA players basically telling the NBA, because those are the people that actually subsidize the WNBA, right? They're an offshoot of the men's league. They're basically telling the leagues that they want more money. They want a larger piece of the revenue that is generated. Now, I'm not sure if WNBA players are as business savvy. I'm sure that some of them are. They are basically trying to take a larger piece of the revenue, not the profit. So if you just go and do a little bit of research, it'll actually show you that last year in particular, the WNBA was estimated to lose around $40 million across the board.
Come on now. What do you expect us to think? You think that we can't see the empty crowds? That in 2024, the average attendance was only 8,000 when Caitlin Clark was playing and 4,000 when she was not playing? Sometimes we just have to give in to reality. But instead of sitting here telling the owners that they need to shell out more money, you should be able to come to the understanding that this position that you have is so bad, you're actually, believe it or not, you're actually making people have some sympathy for billionaires. Now that's a bad take, but I got an idea for you. Start talking to your friends in media and to all the famous folks that you know, the famous feminists. They should all be on sideline cheering their favorite team on. But when you go there, guess what you see on the sideline? Men, normally NBA players. Isn't that ironic? The league of their own is supported by the others. Wow.
You can't collect money for 30 years. This ain't some new league that started and you understand it's going to take a little while to make money. They were subsidized by the NBA. I know firsthand in Detroit. They didn't want the shock. The commissioner, they begged them, please. I know personally that when they were winning those championships, they couldn't sell tickets.
Yes. I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to say how many years it's been. At some point in that time, whether it turns a profit or not, that profit has still increasingly got better and better and better. So if you only make 9% of the profit and with revenue that you bring in right now, there's nothing wrong with making a little bit more.
All right. Ladies, if you could just support the WNBA the way you support a fat chick that's proud of her body and is no longer a threat to you, that league would be doing better numbers than the NBA. Oh my God, that's one of the saddest things I've ever seen. Oh my God, you're a goddess. You're gorgeous. You look great in that bikini. I would kill myself if I looked like that. Keep eating, keep eating. You saw an alcoholic where you'd be like, oh my God, look at you. You're face down, passed out. Your kids are crying. You're a hero. You're a god. Keep doing what you're doing. Be like, dude, you need to get your shit together. Get off the sauce.
Women basketball not that entertaining. They need cooking shows during the off season.
Do you have you ever watched the WNBA game?
Never in my life, and I never will. I don't give a damn about no broads running up down the court and they ain't shaking and they ain't bouncing like them hoes in a strip club. I'm not turned on by no athletic. Yeah, I like hoes, nigga.
Four-time WNBA All-Star Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players. That's crazy. You clap for that.
Thank you for watching the TIP Network. Follow us on all social media outlets and ask yourself one burning question. Can you handle the tip? Boom. We're out.
We found true happiness.